Today's morning coffee vinyl side. Bob Hoye and the Badlanders. Bob Hoye and the Badlanders, 1971. Growing up as a young guitar player, I spent untold hours alone and together with friends dreaming up band names for real and imaginary band projects. We did the same for imaginary street gangs, trying to come up with cool, badass names that would represent the kind of image and mayhem we wanted to project. Some of them were obvious duds, a swing and a miss, and others were novelty fare, like the short-lived Stinky Sox The Launderettes, a sort of powder blues wannabe project that leaned heavily into the Blues Brothers repertoire and lasted for all of 2 months. But some were really good, and we guarded those like young mothers guard baby names, lest they be stolen by others. And I've still got a handful in my back pocket, ready to go if the right project comes along. So it was with some intrigue that I pulled this album from the collection because the Badlanders was just the kind of ass-kicking cool name my 12-year-old self would have come up with. My first thought was, oh, this must be a reference to the 1958 Alan Ladd film of the same name based on the novel The Asphalt Jungle. Cool. And from the album cover, I could see the band members were posing in the actual Badlands in a shot that reminded me of Lemmy and Co. from Motorhead posing in the desert for Ace of Spades. Now, they weren't decked out in leather like Lemmy, but a couple of the boys had black boots on. The Badlanders were actually from the Badlands of Drumheller, Alberta, and they played the South Central Alberta dance circuit, bringing the music to the people. Small town to small town, Legion Hall to community dance hall, wherever consenting Albertans needed a little music to help them get their freak on, well, the Badlanders were there to deliver. And in these isolated small communities, the accordion was king. And you could boogie all night long as by boogie you meant polka. Polka was the official music of choice everywhere west of Toronto. I can only imagine what touring in a polka dance band through South Central Alberta must have been like in the 60s and 70s, especially with a fine set of black cowboy boots and a band name like the Badlanders as your calling card. Now, we'll never know the accumulated secrets of life on the road with the Badlanders. I'm sure some secrets should never leave the desert. 1971 was the time of Led Zeppelin 4 and the Who's Next, the Stones' Sticky Fingers and the Doors' LA Woman, a time when rock gods roamed the earth. And in South Central Alberta, it was the time of the Badlanders. So well received that they followed it up in 72 with the Badlanders #2. Now here's where it gets tricky. One day you're on top of the world and the next day they're tearing you down. Now I'm not sure what happened, but there was no #3 for the Badlanders. And on reflection, naming your second album #2 was really just an invitation for your competitors and detractors to knock you down a few rungs. The competitive world of South Central Alberta's dance bands was always a take-no-prisoners kind of thing. And once you're #2, well, there's no climbing out of the mire.